once again, and welcome to this. Thank you for joining us this evening. And this is the Changemakers Virtual Learning session. And the tag today is Staying Relevant, Building Sustainable Initiatives and Organizations. So this was organized by Foundational Network Africa. Yes. All right. So my name, let me start with myself. My name is Okamaka Richard, and I'm your moderator this evening. And while we are starting, we have some ground rules which I think you need to obey so that we can have a seamless session, right? So it's very important that your mics are muted, all right? And then no one is allowed to unmute their microphone unless given the floor by me. So if you have any questions to ask in the course of this session, kindly forward it to the question and answer box. Yes, by clicking on the question and answer at the bottom of your screen. But if you have further comments and contributions, please make use of the chat box by clicking on the chat at the bottom of your screen. All right? Thank you very much. Thank you. So without much talk, I think it's very proper that we talk about FNA. FNA is the organization that organized this virtual session. So FNA is a foundation that was created in 2018. It was born out from the place of passion, right? So it's made up of young social impact leaders who are making impact across Nigeria. Now, our vision here in FNA is to raise, to build and inspire young social impact leaders. Take note of that. Young social impact leaders who are passionate about making a difference at community level, advocating for quality education for every child, and who are passionate about supporting a positive cause and heralding sustainable development. Now, over to our mission. Here in FNA, our mission is to be recognized as a center for developing passionate, take note of that, and innovative young social impact leaders who will support a positive cause in making a difference at community level and heralding sustainable development in Africa. And our core values are, the first one is education. Because we know the importance of education, that's what we stand for. And then leadership. Yes, leadership and social inclusion, advocacy, volunteerism, and selflessness. Why is selflessness very important? Before you can begin to make impact, you have to, first of all, look away from yourself before you can look away from others. So every impact, every change that will come about will come from a place of selflessness, right? All right. So let me go forward to talking about what this session is all about, the Changemakers Virtual Learning session. The target is staying relevant, building sustainable initiatives and organization. That's why we're here this evening. So if you are here, that means that you are a change maker and you are participating because you want to learn what the tools and what you need to actually thrive, to actually make impact, the impact that you're seeking to make. Being part of this virtual learning session, I think that's what you're gunning for, all right? Okay. Now, having said that, we have the right person who will deliver these tools, these resources that you need to thrive as a social impact leader. Now, the person our facilitator this evening is Jacob Sule. So allow me to say a little about Jacob Sule. Jacob is the Executive Director of iReadToLive initiative. I think I like that, I Live to Read. Now, I Live to Read is a non-profit organization that promotes quality education and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria. Jacob is the convener of Human Rights Cafe, a virtual platform set up to enlighten new generation of leaders to know and promote advocacy of citizens' rights and dignity of all persons globally. Now, Jacob Sule is a recipient of the International Literacy Association Award, USA, that was in 2019, Global Advisory Council member of KDSL, USA, and Inspire Citizens Competence Trainer, Beijing, China. Now, Jacob holds 2 bachelor degrees in law. When I saw this, I said I was going to ask Jacob, why do you have 2 bachelor's degrees in law? Well, that'll be after this. And also in public administration. So this person that we have here has all it takes to deliver into your hands what you need to thrive, given the fact that the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, has changed the way we do things. It has forcefully launched us into the future of work, into the future, into the 4th industrial revolution, into a time where everybody needs to start making impact. So at this point, you need all the tools, you need all the resources to begin to make that impact in this new normal, all right? And Jacob Sule is here to do that.
This conversation today is just going to be as interactive as best as possible, and I do not intend to bore you all with too many things that might look so strange to you, or there are things in which we all must have had access to probably when we were in school or trying to build ourselves as leaders. So now the question is this: staying relevant, building sustainable initiatives. Now the question is this: as a young person, what do you understand by the word staying relevant? It's one thing to be relevant, it's another thing to stay relevant. And you have 2 issues in which we have to dissect in this session today: staying relevant and then building sustainable initiatives. I don't know if you all can hear me, please. Can you hear me?
Hello, Jacob, are you there? We can hear you. All right, I think Jacob will join us very shortly. So like I said, if you're just joining us, please drop your name and let's know where you're joining us from. That will be very much appreciated. And like I said earlier, we have ground rules here. And if you have any questions in the course of the session, do well to drop it on the chat function. Yes, and we will attend to that. Jacob will attend to that, yes, in the course of the session. All right, I think I have Abiodun. Thank you, Abiodun, for joining. Ndifreke Patrick, he joined. Thank you very much. Okay, and we're expecting more people to join.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. I apologize for the challenge. We're living in a developing country, so we expect to have this kind of unforeseen challenges.
Yes.
Once again, I apologize for that. I'll go straight to the talk now and just be brief as best as possible. Initially, I had a lot of slides, 17 or thereabouts, but then because of our time, I'll be brief as best as possible. Now, the question we should be asking ourselves is, what does the word sustainability means to you? Various people, young, old, aged, black, white, different colors have their own perception of what sustainability means. But then for the context of this discussion, we're looking at non-profit leaders, social advocates, and young people who are trying to be social impact-driven fellow. Now the question should be, what does sustainability means to you? I'll restrict my definition to what the United Nations definition put forward as what it means to be a sustainable organization. So the definition says that for you to be sustainable, you should be able to meet the present generation needs in ways that are not only economically viable, but those changes must embrace environmental issues, and then they must create spaces for social equitability, and then give space for younger people to carry on the ideas of your organization or your association or your calling. Now, having looked at that, you have three issues in which you want to look at there. Are your ideas or the vision of your organization, does it fit into the present needs of our nation? Does it fit into the balance of like the ideal society in which we're having now? Are those ideas only economically balanced? And lastly, do they embrace the environment in which they find themselves? And that's why I must commend the organization for saying, because I listened carefully to your vision statement and your mission statement. You are a team of young people who care about positive cause at the community level, and then you're championing education, you're trying to instill leadership, you are embracing social inclusion and advocacy at all ends. So I must commend you for putting together that thematic areas. But then beyond all of this, are these ideas in which we have as young people, are they sustainable? Now, the question we should ask ourselves again is, you want to build an organization. Everybody wants to bear the name a CEO, a director of project, or what have you. But the question that we should ask ourselves is what is your mission and vision statement as young persons? Yes, there are no jobs, but then today we now see young people who are becoming CEOs at very young age. And then you want to ask yourself, how can you build an organization? How can you ensure that beyond just building an organization, your vision statement and your mission statement, do they align with your individual goal? That's one. Secondly, what are your long-term and your short-term goals? Now, the images in which we have branding around on social media now is you see probably someone in his fourth year or second year in institution. And when you check the person's bio, what you find is CEO of this and that, executive director of this and that. Now we begin to ask ourselves questions. What value are this person bringing on board? So as young persons, the question that we should focus on should be, what are your long-term goals and short-term goals in establishing that institution or that organization or that advocacy group? Now we're going to look at monitoring and evaluation. Yes, you've been able to write out your vision and mission statement. You have a long-term goal and you have a short-term goal. How then can you monitor and evaluate these goals that have been written out? Do you have a transparent monitoring system? Yes, if you do, how often do you evaluate your goals in terms, oh, at the end of the year or in 6 months, what have you been able to achieve? Having said that, you now have to look at your targeted audience. Just like you said, you're focused on a positive cause at community level. Some young persons of nowadays do not even want to recognize with their community. What they do first is they want to have a voice on social media. Yes, I agree with you. Social media is something that is commendable. But then when social media collapses, which I don't think that will happen, do you have an audience in which you can sustain your conversations with? One other issue we should look at is your experiences and transferable skill. You want to build a sustainable organization. Do you have experiences that matches what you want to do? Do you have skills that are transferable to your peers, your volunteers, or your co-colleagues at works? That's why I advocate for volunteering experiences. And that's why as young people, beyond being an undergraduate student or a graduate student, we should begin to see how we can volunteer and build experiences that can help us transfer these skills into the organization when we're intent to set up. Now, the next thing I'll look at is unmasking the CEO. The sensational title. Can you all hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Now, I'll be talking briefly about a subtitle which is called Unmasking the CEO, the sensational title. Like I said, every young person now on social media, on Twitter, has on his or her bio, CEO of this and that, CEO of this and that, and then executive director of this. But then three things in which I usually tell young people that must guide their perception of becoming a CEO. It's what I call the PVC. Now, don't get it wrong. It's not the permanent voters card. The P stands for your passion. As a young person, you want to advocate for a particular cause. Are you genuinely passionate about what you're advocating for? If yes, how then do you think you can break boundaries? How can you put together people from diverse backgrounds, not necessarily from your state of origin, but then how can you look for people who share the same passion with you? People who are convinced about the dream in which you're carrying, and then they can work with you. So number one, before you begin to think of like launching or trying to build an organization, you must be passionate about what you're doing, and it must be a genuine passion. Having said that, the next thing is your vision. Some persons just want to get on the media space and then take over everything. No, Rome isn't built in a day, or wasn't built in a day. It takes a gradual process. So I urge young people, you should have a vision that drives your dream. Your vision must match with your passion. Take, for instance, you're starting from a community, or let me just share my story of how iReadToLive came about. I started this organization while I was an undergraduate student in one of the state universities in Nigeria. But then I felt as law students, we cannot continue to earn law degrees from this environment and not give back to people in this community. And I felt, okay, Jacob, you will be in this community for 4 years or 5 years trying to earn a law degree. And then after this law degree, I'm sure that none of my colleagues would want to stay back there and practice as lawyers. So now the question would be that, Jacob, after 5 years or after 4 years of studying in this environment, what would you be remembered for? So what we did was to put ourselves together as young people from our first year to our fifth year. We had a team, visited all private schools and public schools, interacted with parents, traditional rulers, and teachers to see how we can advocate for education. And if you see now, 5 years afterwards, we have done tremendously well. Even though I have stepped aside from that institution, but then we've been able to build a consistent team that still takes over our advocacy. So one, beyond becoming a CEO, beyond building an institution, your passion must be genuine and your vision must be something in which you can run with. Having talked about your passion and vision, we want to look at the C, which is your competence. So many young persons now want to brandish the name CEO, but then are they genuinely competent? Do they have the required skills? Do they have cognitive experience? Do they have sellable skills? Do they even have a basic understanding of the cause in which they're advocating for? A few months ago, before Corona came in, I was having an interaction with a few of my colleagues in northeastern part of Nigeria. And I asked them, do you know about the SDGs? And they were like, what are you talking about? And these are young people who want to come on social media and throw insults at colleagues or people that are even much more older than them. So I tell young people, beyond your passion and your vision to run an organization, you must be competent, and then you must have skills that will help you build your initiatives and your organization. Now, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, now, having said that, the next question we want to look at is, how do you build sustainable initiatives? Everybody has different ideas. Rose is from Cross River, Jacob is from Edo, Changemaker is from Niger, and then you have people with different ideas, different colors, and different skills. Now the question is how do you put all of this together and then build a sustainable initiative? What I tell people is your knowledge, your skills, your values, and your attitudes are not negotiable. Regardless of the levels of bachelor's degrees you have, your master's degree, or even your doctorate studies, you need to look at one, your knowledge. You want to build an organization on education advocacy, or you want to build an organization on climate action. Do you have the requisite knowledge on how to advocate for what you're trying to push for? So one thing you must note is you must be knowledgeable about the initiatives in which you want to build. Beyond being knowledgeable, you must have skills that are transferable. And what do I mean by transferable skills? For example, you have an organization in which probably you're the CEO or probably you're the policy director. You have colleagues or subordinates who are working with you. Now, what skills comes readily available for you to transfer to them? Take, for instance, the issue of sending out official emails. We need to begin to see how we can train our volunteers or our mentees to know how to draft these emails. And then it should not just be about you as the policy director doing all of that. So skills are things that are not negotiable in building sustainable institutions. No matter how big your organization is going to be, or no matter how small it is, you must begin to embrace the place of skills. They are not negotiable in trying to build a sustainable organization. One other thing you want to look at is values. So many organizations are there championing different goals, but then what would distinguish organization A from organization B are the values in which you can put forth. Now we know of some social media, let me say some news platform that just gets on every social media website and picks news, whether breaking news, whether confirmed or not. They go in there and just information just like that. But then as young people, if you want to build a sustainable organization, you must know your values. What values comes strongly recommended for you as young persons? Do you want to be known for breaking news that are not genuine, or you want to be known for breaking news that are factual and credible? Do you want to be known for fake news, or you want to be known for things that are sustainable and genuine? So these are values in which you must ask yourself behind the closed doors, behind the tweets or behind the post in which you make on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter or Instagram. What values are you known for? When people hear the name Foundational Network Africa, what comes to their mind? Is it something sustainable? Is it something in which you can take to the bank? So as young persons, building a sustainable institution must come with our values, it must come with our knowledge, and then lastly, it must come with our attitudes. What are our attitudes as young people to issues? Take, for instance, you post something about a controversial topic on social media, and somebody comes with a divergent opinion, and the next thing is you lash out on the person. People are watching. And there's one thing that we as young persons now must begin to notice. Yes, at some point you might post some tweets and then you do not see anybody like or even retweet what you posted. That's not true. A lot of persons must have read. A lot of persons must have read what you might have posted, but then the question will be that what is your attitude? What is being posted? So to summarize that, for you to build a sustainable initiative, you must have good knowledge of what you're trying to advocate for. You must have requisite skills that are valuable. You must have good values, and then you must have very good and positive attitude. Now, having said all of this, how do you stay relevant in an organization? Or how do you stay relevant in a space that have too many people with different ideas? It goes back to all of what I've been saying. It's like a sphere. Everyone is being interacted with. So one thing you should look at is your values and attitude, your behaviors, your skills, and your competencies. All of this works together in a circle. You can't have one and leave the other. You can't have good attitude and leave the other. You can't be skilled in a particular field and then be deficient in the other. You can have good behaviors and not have good skills. So I advocate strongly for young people that if you want to remain relevant in your organization, you must have good values and attitudes. Your behavior must be outstanding, and then you must have skills that are transferable and sellable. Now, one thing in which I want to state categorically is this: when it comes to the issue of building organization, you all are the drivers of the policies of your organization. You should begin to ask yourself, what is the genuine purpose of your organization? What exactly are you looking out for now? Now, there are so many young persons there who are starting up new initiatives. Yes, I commend them, and then I'm a huge fan of young persons starting initiatives. But now the question we should ask is, what is your genuine purpose of starting that organization? Some young persons now want to start organizations and get grants, and then when they get grants, you would see them drive latest luxury cars around Abuja or wherever they live. But then the question is this: do they really implement these funds or grants in which they've gotten to push for the focus of the organization? So one thing you must ask yourself is, beyond staying sustainable as an NGO or an organization or an association, what is the entire purpose of establishing that institution? Having identified your purpose, Then you must look at your community impact. You're advocating for quality education. How many children or how many students can you say, oh, in this environment as of 2016 when we started, we've been able to achieve an impact so X numbers of lives of students in this community. These are issues in which we must begin to ask ourselves so that we can remain sustainable as young people who are trying to champion social change. Then one issue you should ask yourself is, what problem do you want to solve as an organization? There are plethora of challenges bedeviling Nigeria as a whole and the world. And like I used to tell people, those who are thriving now are not those that can speak English. They are not those who can speak phonetics or those who have huge numbers of followers, but those who can solve problems. What problems are your organization open to solve where you find yourself? In closing, when it comes to the issue of sustainability, a lot of people tend to run into murky waters and don't seem to understand what is ideal and what is not ideal. So for me, the point is not to learn what is sustainable. The point is not learning about sustainability. Rather, it is to learn why it should be sustainable, and then how to use your skill to make your organization sustainable, and then how to change the status quo. So beyond just running into on Twitter or on social media, no, you should ask yourself the question, how do you learn this? Now, I've been asked the question why, why? What is your passion? What is your genuine focus of learning to become a sustainable organization? And then having done that, you should now look at how can you change the problems or the challenges in which you've identified in your local community. Now, finally, there are so many persons here in which have joined this Zoom session. But the truth is, I cannot remember all of your names. But one thing is sacrosanct. People might forget your names. Some might even disagree with your ideas and policies. But one thing remains constant. Your impact in changing life remains constant. So I urge you as young persons, as you begin to struggle to become social impact, as you begin to look at your community to drive sustainable development goals and beyond the goals in which we all see, ensure that you withdraw back at some point, review your policy, ask yourself question, what is my genuine purpose of building this organization? When you're able to identify the genuine cause that helps you build all of this, I can assure you that even if people forget your name, people forget the name of the organization, people can never forget the impact of your organization. And I urge you all to please strive for the mastery. Do not join the crowd to trend an hashtag because they want to trend it, but then understand the cause behind what you're doing and try to see how you can align your organization with trends, and then make sure that whatever policies, whatever advocacy you're doing, try as much as possible to ensure that your advocacies are sustainable, they are addressing local and community and international issues within your community, and then try to be accessible and have skills that are transferable and sellable. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you. So if you have any questions based on what Jacob has talked about, please do well to drop it on the charts group or below the bottom here so that he can attend to the questions. But Jacob, we have questions here and some persons want to find out. Someone is asking, how do I build a sustainable career path without veering off? That's what someone is asking.
Great question. For me to just simply answer that question, I will take you back to what I meant by asking the CEO. The PVC strata has worked for me. For you not to veer off from your career path, you must ask yourself this question: what am I passionate about? What is it I want to do that will make me outstanding from the edge of my colleagues or undergraduate students where you find yourself? Secondly, having identified your passion, what is the vision in which you have for yourself? Is it that in 6 months you want to be at X step? In 1 year you want to be on Y? And then in 3 years you want to be over the country or internationally? Having set your vision, then you must ask yourself, competency. How competent are you to drive all of this? Yes, I agree with you that building a career in Africa, or let me say building a career in Nigeria can be so tiring. Yes, today you have government policies that are not even favorable. But then I can assure you that if you start small, if you identify your passion, this is what I want to do. The truth is there's nothing you want to do on the surface of the earth that nobody has ever done it. People have done what you want to do, but then your ability to do your passion, your vision, and then build competencies will help you stay focused to your career path. And then you can also meet mentors and then people who have been through the path in which you're trying to build, and then reach out to them, advice and suggestions. And should that person need additional help, I'll be willing to offer my time to help that person walk through his or her career path. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jacob. There's another question here. Now, after this young person has identified an area of challenge or problem in his local community, so how will he go about securing resources to meet this problem or this challenge in that community?
Thank you. Yeah, young people tend to ask that question, funding. How do you fund your idea or your social impact? I'll give you a story of iReadToLive initiative, how we started. Like I said, we started as undergraduate law students in a state university. We had a strength of 35 students who were volunteers, who were also colleagues and peers of ours. Then we asked ourselves these questions. Do we genuinely want to fight for this cause? Or we want to fight for a cause because of WhatsApp status stories or because of BBN post? Out of 35, we were able to trim down ourselves to just 15. Now, those 15 of us had resources from our parents, our friends, our colleagues, our folks. You don't need $1 million in the bank to upscale a project. Once you have an idea, I'm sure that you have relatives or colleagues who believe in your dreams. And in as the moment you have a dream or you conceive an idea and your immediate family members do not believe in that passion in which you're carrying, then you need to ask yourself that question: is this something you want to drive for? So for someone who has identified that, and then the issue of funding, funding should be the last thing in which you should be looking out for. If you have scalable ideas, you can start small. For us at iRead, we started with 5 students. And as at then, we could get an SRX book for less than, I think, 200 Naira. We saved in anticipation for our advocacies. So funding should not be a challenge. But then, like I said, and then this might shock people, I have been running an organization for over 6 years now. I have never written to anybody for funding at all. I can say it anywhere at any time. I have never written to one single person living on earth to fund my projects. And why is it so? Because I have a team of people who believes in the vision of your organization. So your team member matters a lot. You can't do things in isolation. You can't do the SDGs in isolation. That's why Goal 17 comes strongly recommended. Partnership for the goals. And if you look at the theme of the International Youth Day just a few days ago, it calls for global action of collaboration. So please, funding should be the least thing that should bother you. Get a team of people or persons that believes in your dream. And from there, I can assure you that if you put together that right team, you would not have a challenge with funding. Thank you.
Thank you very much for answering that question. Now, you said you've not had funding from anybody, any organization, but someone is asking a question here. How do I secure grants and boost my NGO? That's what someone is asking.
Well, I said, you can't give what you don't have. I have not written for grants. I do not know how to actively advocate for grants, but then I am aware that there are so many resources online in which you can explore on how to access funding and grants for your organization. So I'm afraid I cannot give like a precise information or response to how you can seek for grants, because I've never written for grants, and then I do not think maybe in the next 10 years I might consider writing out for grants. But then since I have not written for grants, I cannot give what I don't have. So I'm afraid I will not be able to give a decisive answer to that question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Now, you said something. You said you cannot do the SDGs in isolation. So now, a particular young person who has this idea, how does he or she go about seeking or getting people who share similar dreams and idea to help him, or yeah, move on with what he wants to achieve?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a very, very, very good question. Now, you have asked the question, how do you get people? I'm sure every person on this conversation has access to an Android phone, and you have people, let's say half of us post statuses maybe once in a month. That's the least for the weird person, like the most weird person on this platform now. You post your status, and then people at some point comment on the status or even view and even pass by. Now you need to look inwards. Like I said, you have to start small. Look out for people in which you have built mutual relationship with, and then see how you can upscale your idea. The truth is, organizations building is not rocket science. It is not. It is something in which you can sit down here and then begin. Oh, you have friends whom you are very close with, then you can share your ideas with them. See, like I tell young people, let us stop being carried away by some motivational speakers who comes to tell us how I made my first $1 million. And then the person makes the dollars from selling to you that book on how he makes his $1 million. No, young people need to begin to leverage on their network. And when I mean leverage, you all have friends and folks who have very good confidence in you. Call them, chat up with them. This is the idea in which you have. I know that you have expertise in X, you have expertise in Y, you have expertise in Z. I want to build an organization, and I want you all to work with me as team members. If you tell a young person that, yes, I value your skill and I want to bring you on board to lead this project, one thing comes to mind: what title are you giving me to lead that project? So beyond title, yes, and so you need to let people understand that beyond title, we are looking for values and skills in which you can offer. And if you look at the target of Goal 17, Partnership for the SDGs, it's not just talking about funding. It talks about community partnership, individual partnership, private and public partnership. And then I think, yeah, a few weeks ago, that paper is yet to be published. I wrote an article on partnership for the SDGs. Like, yeah, that was a paper I wrote. So in summary, what I just want to say is that person who is thinking of scaling up his idea, look within your inner circle. There's someone who believes in your candidacy. There's someone who believes in what you carry. Look for that person, share your dreams with that person. And then if that doesn't work, go on the social media. There are people who are doing something similar to what you're doing, or people who have done one thing or the other to what you want to do. Write out to them in a very good and simple English. Very short. This is what you want to do. You value the person's expertise and experience, and then you like to learn from the person. And you offer your skill. And before you know it, you have a team in which can mentor you. And then you can even from there tap resources or get access to whatever you're looking for from such persons. I hope the person understands my responses. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jacob. If you still have more questions, please drop it on this chat function here, and Jacob will attend to it. We just have a few minutes before we are gone. And I think I'll start by saying thank you, Jacob, for this. Thank you very much. And for those, some persons just joined now. Yes, Jacob Sule has been talking to us. Jacob Sule is someone that has really been doing so well. He is the executive director, iReadToLive initiative. I think I'd like to stress that. iReadToLive initiative. Thank you very much, Jacob. Now, he mentioned some things I think for those who just joined now need to take note of. He talked about the PVC model, the passion, the vision, the competence. Yes, the passion. What are you passionate about? Does your passion align with the vision? And how competent are you to further that vision and your passion Do you have the skills, the values, the attitudes? Because these things are not negotiable. And you also have to embrace partnership and collaboration in order to scale up your ideas and all. So any more questions? All right, in the absence of that, I would like to ask you to turn on your video, not the audio, just the video, so that we can take pictures. So we can begin to turn on our videos now so that we can take pictures. All right, yes. Please turn on your video so that we can take pictures. Deborah, you just joined us. Okay, unfortunately, the session is ended. Please turn on your videos so that we can take pictures. All right, I'm still waiting for Lufun Cave and Joseph. Okay. Joseph, I'm still waiting for you to turn on your video and.
Hi, sorry, just a second.
All right, I'm waiting for Martins. Martins, please turn on your video, and Olufunke, can you do that? And the person with the techno device, please, yes. All right, okay, thank you, Martins. So thank you everyone that joined us this evening. Thank you. I hope your curiosity and all of the questions you have been satisfied, and I hope Jacob did justice to whatever you have in mind, staying relevant, building sustainable initiatives and organizations. Thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. We all sincerely appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. This is the point. Okay, this is the point where you begin to introduce yourself to fellow participants. Yes, time for networking. That's what we call it. So please start networking with each other. Yeah, because Jacob said that partnership collaboration is the way to go, right? As a young person that has that vision, that initiative, that idea, there are other young persons on this platform that might share similar ideas with you. I think it's time for you to begin to network, right? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
So I guess anyone can just start, right?
Yes, you can. You can.
All right. Deborah Oni.
Okay.
I'm a legal practitioner. I'm into blockchain technology. Hello? I'm into blockchain technology and emerging technologies. I'm into corporate and corporate. I have an initiative called HTS. I'm the founder and the founder of HTS and HTS Women, where we try to create awareness to women about the adoption of blockchain and to the legal practitioner as a whole, educating them on the use cases of the blockchain and emerging technologies, and try to bring women into their place in adopting the use of this technology and see the benefits of the technology, and also work in line with other colleagues as lawyers to be able to get the regulatory frameworks, to get proper regulatory frameworks for the speedy adoption of the technology.
All right, thank you very much, Deborah. Thank you so much. Wow, that's lovely. So who else wants to go? Cozy, Martins, Joseph, Sylvester, and Namer Olufunke has not said anything since she came in. Joseph is smiling. Joseph, why are you smiling? Okay, Cozy wants to talk now.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Chinwe.
Okay.
I run a pastry business. Yeah, I run a pastry business. Calls it Delight Concepts. We produce chin-chin, very yummy and crunchy.
Okay. So where is the office located?
At Marian, behind Glow office. I do it in my house. Actually, I don't have a.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, across yeah, so I do small chops, cake, double, movies. Is my main focus for now. I do one of the best chin-chin in Calabar. It comes in different flavors: chocolate, coconut, cinnamon, any flavor you can think of, and we use natural fruits for our production. Okay. We are looking forward to expanding and we do web deal outside Calabar to Lagos, to Abuja, to Umuahia, to Port Harcourt.
Oh, that's huge. All right, that's good. Thank you very much, Kosi. Yeah. Okay, Joseph.
Thank you.
Thank you. Martins.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm really sorry. I was actually coming back from work and I had to join the meeting. So on the way, I was trying as much as possible to follow. So, okay, please, can you ask the question again? I think you asked about what we do, right?
Yes, I said this is a time for us to network, learn about the other person, the other participant. So that's why we want you to talk about yourself and what you do.
Okay. I first off, I think I want to talk about why I'm here.
Okay.
I'm actually here because I co-founded an NGO. So, the name of the NGO is leadership team of the NGO, and we are having quite a time now, especially with the pandemic. A few things have actually been discussed by the facilitator. I must say thank you very much. That was a very nice session. And outside the NGO, I am a digital marketer, I am a Forex trader, and I am a social media manager. Yeah. And then I also am a phone engineer. I fix phones, hardware and software. Yeah. So, and I'm currently in Kaduna State, but I am mostly based in Calabar, but I'm currently in Kaduna State because of some reasons. Yeah.
All right. I hope you're staying safe because Kaduna State is a volatile state right now. I hope you're staying safe. Okay, we still have more people who want to join us, but
yeah, actually, I'm safe. Okay. Actually, I'm safe. We are hoping that the government would actually take the security more seriously. But I actually am safe. Thank you very much.
Well, all right, thank you very much. I would want to allow every other person to talk, but we are out of time. Yes, we are out of time. So thank you very much to all our participants. Thank you very much for making our time to join us this evening. Thank you. And thank you especially, Jacob, for facilitating, for teaching us today. Thank you very much. So this is where we say bye. Yes, this is where we say bye. And my name is Okamaka Richard. Yes. So, till we meet again. Bye.
All right. Bye. Thanks, Okamaka.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.